Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here with a tea to get started with, to test, try out, see if I can enjoy it, if you can enjoy it as well. So we're scooping out enough here. It's a Chinese style tea, so I've got my Chinese style equipment here, a gaiwan. I'm going to scoop out enough to cover the bottom, say inch to inch and a half diameter there, the base of my 3-ounce gaiwan. That looks pretty good. Got my water brought to an early boil. Should still have plenty of heat on it. Let me add my water. Some people will, in a more formal style of tea tasting, they'll pour the water off to the side and allow it to kind of sweep underneath, which theoretically makes a more gentle entry into the hot water for the tea leaves. Sometimes if that pouring motion doesn't create enough circulation, your leaves can kind of rest on top of the water there. I just poured a little bit more roughly, made sure every leaf got coated, and I've got a little bit of water resting over the rim of my lid, which will kind of create a barrier so that the air doesn't get in and change color of the liquor there. Now, I can talk about this tea now that I have a second to let this steep here. This is from Tea Story. This is their White Monkey. White Monkey sounds like it would be a white tea. Usually white monkeys traditionally are green teas. You can get a 5-gram sample for 1.49 pounds. Okay, this tea, the background information on this tea on Tea Story's product page. This is from Jiangxi province. It was harvested in April. It said April, didn't say. I'm assuming it's ongoing April, not necessarily. So best guess would be this would be April of 2012 when this was harvested. Okay, so that tells us the basic information that Tea Story can provide on this tea, or does provide on this tea. I'm going to go ahead now and talk about this tea from the aspect of the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. Starting off here with the dry. This tea has aromas. My first reaction was it had the aromas of, say, some of the greener pu'ers that I've smelled. So it does get, but this one's smoother than that. This one's a bit softer, a bit sweeter. So it does have some kind of, how should I say, spicy, kind of peppery, black pepper and wood type aromas to it. At the same time, it does have some kind of green, herby type element. Not quite. Somewhere in the neighborhood, say, parsley. Not quite dill, but green herbs. There's another one in there that is it almost like a coriander seed? Somewhere in that neighborhood. I can't quite put my finger on it just yet, but it does have that kind of herb. It does have some sweetness to it, though. Perhaps that's more a little bit over towards, say, a sweet basil. So those are elements there. I'm going to scoop out this leaf and take a quick look here. Leaves are, these look like there are many needles here. They look long, a lot of cases an inch or more in length. Many of them are more than an inch in length. There are the needles that are there, which I would say is, 80–90% of the total here. They are silvery. You can see the actual fuzz on them. The other elements are deeper green for the most part. They are, I should say, more of a green-gray type of color there. Again, these look to be not very old leaves. The April harvest date would indicate that, yes, these are younger leaves as well. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to get ready to pour, and that way I can talk a little bit about the wet leaf and the liquor. So angle my lid over to the side, and I sweep little bits of leaf away from where I'm going to be pouring, so that try to keep some of those leaf pieces from getting into the pitcher. I hold like so, and away the tea goes into my pitcher. Shake out those last few drops there. Now, I can talk a little bit about this wet leaf. First off, give it a smell here. First smell, initial smell, beany. I'd say a relatively fresh, but deeply cooked lima bean. Aromas on the inside of the lid, a bit lighter, a bit sweeter, a bit more towards a still kind of a sweet basil, something kind of herby, green, with a bit of slight kind of sweetness to it. Okay. Waiting as this kind of cool a little bit. This does get a bit on the sweeter side, and ever so slightly towards a gentle, almost nutty kind of light, a light kind of cashew type nuts kind of smell there. Now let me pull out a few of these leaves. I put away a couple of the leaf bits that had stuck to the lid. Here's a leaf that's nearly completely intact. So let me kind of flatten that out. Show that say the uppermost fifth of the lid of this leaf did not make it. But other than that, it's relatively intact. Not a lot of ragged edge there. I do not, at least on that piece, the pieces that I see down here in the guy one as well, don't see. This one's actually more than. Let me tease these two apart if I can. I don't see a lot of rust type colors where oxidation took place here and there, as these leaves may have been bruised. So that indicates that these leaves were treated fairly well. They were processed in a way that stopped that oxidation, prevented oxidation from happening. They didn't get jostled around too much and damaged before that process to stop the oxidation takes place. So it shows that some craftsmanship, some awareness of how to manage these leaves was evident in the work here. We'll set that aside and get ready to pour. First, of course, talk a little bit about this liquor as I hold it up to the light. A bright yellow color. Okay, let me swirl it around. Light aromas, a little bit of kind of a boiled corn smell, a little bit of kind of a green bean type of smell. Let me give it a shot here in my cup, see how it tastes. Aromas, flavors, still in that kind of bean type neighborhood, with a little bit of the green herb kind of coming out, gentle, relatively smooth kind of parsley-like note there. As it cools a little bit more, a little bit of that boiled corn type of smell comes out. The boiled corn on the cob drank some of the water that corn was boiled in. You pick up a little bit of that kind of sweet corn type of element that you get here. Astringency, there's a tad of astringency that gives a gentle and fairly even coating on the tongue. It doesn't feel harsh and cottony kind of feel, dry, excessively drying. Low bitterness, which is a nice component there. I'm getting some sweetness in the back. Texture, I'm trying to comment a little bit here on texture. It had that little bit of starchy at the front. I'm getting some kind of sweetness in the back. I'm getting a little bit of a kind of a juicy, mouth-watering sensation under the back of my tongue, staying back there, not moving around a whole lot. What else? Duration. This aftertaste is light, but it hasn't dropped off yet either. As this cools, it does get more over towards more like an overcooked bean type of element. The texture starts off more watery. I mean, you do get some of that light kind of powdery astringency midways to back of the mouth now. But I mean, looking at this tea, first off, you're not going to find a whole lot of white monkeys out on the market really right now. As this one compares to others, this one is probably in the middle. I mean, I've had some weaker ones that were just they were blander than this. This one's not the most outstanding, and as far as general class of green teas, if you're the kind who likes, say, a Maofeng, a Dragon Well, this one's going to seem probably thinner, lighter, flatter than some of those. So, not the kind of tea that you want to, you could see if you're your starting foray into green teas. This would not necessarily be the place to start. If you want something that's kind of a plain Jane, kind of safe tasting tea, this may be something to think about or try out. So I would give this tea, as far as what other white monkeys go, but there aren't that many. This is tough. I'm going to have to give this one, probably going to give this one an 86. Some nice components, better than some of the other white monkeys out there, but not necessarily the best in class either. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find those best in class, those smooth or easy to use daily drink teas as well.